Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Master English Hub, where learning English is free, fun, and effective. I'm Eve.
Hi, Eve. Hello, amazing learners. I'm so happy to be here with you today. My name is Adam, and I brought my notebook full of useful English phrases for when your brain goes blank.
Oh, I love that. Because let's be honest, everyone forgets words sometimes, even native speakers.
Yes, and today we're talking about survival English. What to say when you can't find the right word. Not perfect English, just helpful English.
Exactly. These aren't fancy grammar rules. These are the lifelines you use when your mind freezes mid-sentence. They keep you calm, clear, and connected, even when you're stuck. And don't worry, they're not hard. They're short, they're kind, and you can use them right now.
Yes. For example, you're telling a story. I went to the place where you buy you forget the word. You don't need to panic. Just one simple phrase saves you. That's what we'll practice today.
Before we begin, though, quick favor? If you enjoy our lessons, please hit that like button. It really helps us grow.
And if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe so you never miss a lesson. We're building a community of brave English speakers who aren't afraid to pause, think, and try again.
Yes, and share this with someone who's learning English. Maybe your cousin, your coworker, or your best friend. Let's learn together, mistakes and all.
All right, Eve, what's our promise for today's listeners?
Oh, if you stay with us until the end, we'll give you one bonus phrase that turns a moment of confusion into a moment of connection, even in a job interview.
Ooh, I can't wait. But first, let's talk about what happens when your brain goes blank in the middle of a conversation.
Adam, let's start with something so common it's almost funny. You're in the middle of a sentence, and suddenly, your brain hits a wall. The word is right there, but it won't come out. You're not nervous. You're not dumb. You're just human.
Oh, I've been there. Last Tuesday, I was telling my sister about a movie. I said, "You know that actor who was in The Social Network and Moneyball, and he played Spider-Man?" And then I stopped. She looked at me, and I just smiled and said, "It's on the tip of my tongue." She laughed and said, "Andrew Garfield?" And I went, "Yes, him." It wasn't awkward. It was sweet, like we were solving a little puzzle together.
That's the beauty of it. It's not a failure, it's an invitation. And it works everywhere. At work, my teammate once asked, "What's the name of that software we used last quarter?" I said, "It's on the tip of my tongue. Slack? No, Asana." He nodded like, "Ah, yes." Even in class, students say it. The capital of Peru is, it's on the tip of my tongue. Ah, yes, it's Lima.
And it's not just names, feelings too. Like when someone asks, "How was your weekend?" And you say, "It was peaceful?" No. Calm? Wait, it's on the tip of my tongue. Restful. Your friend doesn't care about the exact word. They care that you're sharing.
What if the word is completely gone? Like, you know what it does, but you can't recall what it's called?
Then I describe it. I say something like, "You know, the thing you use to open bottles." Last month, I was at a picnic, and I couldn't remember bottle opener. So I held up my hand and said, "You know, the metal thing with the sharp edge?" My friend handed it to me and said, "This?" And I said, "Yes, thank you." No stress, no silence, just connection.
I do this all the time with kitchen tools. You know, the flat thing you flip pancakes with? Ah, spatula. Or tech stuff. You know, the small hole where you plug in headphones? Oh, yeah, headphone jack. Even emotions. You know, that feeling when you're happy but also tired? Yes. Bittersweet? People love helping when you paint a picture.
And it's not just objects, directions too. Go past the big red building, you know, the one with the clock? Or at the store. I'm looking for the white powder you put in pasta water. Salt. You don't need the dictionary word. You just need to be understood.
Now, what if you say something wrong by accident? Like you tell your roommate, I borrowed your car, but you meant bike.
I just add, actually, I mean the bike. It's so soft. It doesn't sound like a big deal because it isn't. My boss does this all the time. He'll say, let's meet Monday. Actually, I mean Wednesday. No one blinks. It's part of speaking.
And if you mix up people? Like, my sister said, but you meant my cousin?
Same thing. Actually, I mean my cousin. It's not lying, it's clarifying, and it keeps trust alive.
What if your whole sentence gets tangled? Like you're ordering coffee and say, I'll have the tea. No, the latte. No, the oat milk one with no sugar.
I've done that. That's when I take a breath and say, let me start over. It's like hitting a reset button. Let me start over. I'd like a large oat milk latte, no sugar, please. Suddenly, everything's clear. And the barista? They're relieved. They'd rather hear that than guess.
Same at work. Last week I was explaining a project deadline and said 3 different dates. I stopped and said, let me start over. And my team actually said, thank you, we were getting lost. It shows respect for their time.
And in personal talks, too. If I'm trying to explain why I was quiet at dinner, I might say, let me start over. I wasn't upset. I was just thinking about work. It gives your message a second chance to land.
Now, what if someone asks you a question and you just need a moment to think?
I say, let me think, or give me a second. No rush, no fake answer, just honesty. In meetings, I've said, give me a second. I want to give you the right number, not a guess. People appreciate that.
I use it with my students. When they ask a deep question, I say, let me think. And they learn it's okay to pause. It's not silence, it's processing. Even on the phone with customer service, give me a second. I need to check my email.
And it's okay to stretch it. Give me a second. I'm just looking for the receipt. Or, let me think. Was it last week or the week before? Time is a gift you can give yourself.
Now, sometimes it's not about the word, it's about the feeling. You say something, but it comes out colder or sharper than you meant.
Oh, yes. Like when you say, I don't care, but you actually do, but you were just tired. That's when I softened it with, I mean, what I wanted to say was, for example, I said I didn't care, but I mean, what I wanted to say was, I trust your choice. I was just surprised.
Oh, yes, this happens a lot. Sometimes we say something fast that doesn't really show how we feel or what we meant.
Yes, for example, when I said, I'm fine, what I wanted to say was, I'm hurt and I need a hug. It's emotional honesty wrapped in kindness.
Oh, yes, like you say I'm fine, and you don't want to say, I feel bored. Maybe because you don't want to talk about it, or you don't want to bother your friend. And finally, Adam, what if you truly don't know the word and you want to learn it?
I ask, what's the word for the last day to hand in homework. Or, what's the word for when your phone battery dies? People love helping when you show curiosity. My neighbor taught me charger that way. I said, what's the word for the thing that gives power to my phone? And she said, charger. Now I never forget.
And it works in class. What's the word for the line that divides the Earth into north and south? Equator. Or at the doctor. What's the word for when your heart beats too fast? Palpitations. You're not weak. You're wise.
And if you're shy, you can even say, I forgot the word. Can you help me? Most people will smile and say, of course.
Adam, you promised a magical bonus phrase for our loyal listeners.
Yes, here it is. Use this in interviews, team calls, or tough talks when your mind blanks. Bear with me.
Oh, that's short, but so strong. What does it mean, Adam?
It means, please wait with me for a moment. I need a little time, and I thank you for your patience. That's all. It's polite, it's calm, and it works everywhere.
So if I'm in a job interview and I forget a word, I can just say, bear with me?
Yes. For example, I worked on a project about customer service. Bear with me. It was last spring. Your interviewer will smile and wait. They won't think you're slow. They'll think you're thoughtful.
And if I'm talking to a friend?
Same thing. I want to tell you something important. Bear with me. I'm trying to find the right words. Your friend feels respected, not rushed.
I love how gentle it sounds, like you're asking for kindness, not hiding.
Exactly. Bear with me doesn't mean I'm stuck. It means I'm still here, and I care enough to get it right.
Friends, today we didn't give you a long list. We gave you the phrases that actually live in real conversations, the ones that keep you connected when words hide.
Try just one this week. Say it while making coffee. Whisper it before a Zoom call. Text it to a language buddy. Notice how it feels to pause without shame.
And tell us in the comments, which phrase felt most like you? Was it, it's on the tip of my tongue? Or, the round one? Or the bonus, bear with me.
We read every single comment, and we're so proud of you for showing up, even when your brain stutters, even when you forget. You're not failing, you're practicing courage.
Remember, fluency isn't about never forgetting words. It's about knowing how to stay kind to others and to yourself when you do.
So please, like, subscribe, and share. Let's grow this community of gentle, confident English speakers who know real communication includes pauses, corrections, and ums.
Thank you for being here. You're not just learning English, you're learning to trust your voice, even in the quiet moments.
See you next time, Eve.
Bye, everyone. Go speak, one imperfect, honest sentence at a time. Bye for now. And remember, bear with me. That's where the real connection begins.